I'm a television and screenwriter.
What do you work on?
I wrote on a Hulu show called Woke and an ABC show called Queens.
How long have you been a writer?
Professionally, like 2 years now, but I've been screenwriting probably like the last 4 years or so.
Do you like it? Pros and cons?
I love it. It's a very feast or famine kind of industry. So some years you make six figures, some years you don't make any money. Industry has shifted a lot and made it a lot less sustainable, hence why the WGA is on strike.
How much do you make?
It varies a lot from year to year.
Yeah.
So when I wrote on Woke and Queens, that year I made just shy of 200K. That was great. And then last year I made 38K because I was unemployed.
Tell me about the writer's strike. Like, what are writers asking for?
We are just asking for the career to be sustainable. There are really, really high highs and really, really low lows. And it's harder to find jobs after one show ends to another. So one of the things we're asking for is a minimum number of weeks for a writer's room to take place. So back during the heyday of cable and broadcast, typically you would be employed on a TV show for 40 weeks out of the year. And then during the hiatus, you would be getting residuals, so you could still sustain yourself. However, now there are some writers' rooms that are as short as 5-6 weeks, and then you have to try to find another job after that. Sometimes you can't because they write it into your contract that you are exclusive to them until they make a decision about a next season. And with streaming shows, as I'm sure a lot of people have seen, there can be 2 years between one season and another. So they are basically forcing you to be unemployed for 2 years.
Tell me about the streaming change. Like, how did that change the industry for writers?
I changed it in so many ways. I mean, in the positive end, I do think that there are definitely way more television shows on air than there were before. But weirdly enough, there are less jobs because another issue is that in addition to the rooms being shorter, they're also smaller. So from what I've heard from older writers, for a broadcast show, sometimes you don't have 15, 20 writers in a room. Both the shows that I wrote on had about 9 writers. I've heard of rooms that had 3 or 4. It's making it really, really difficult, particularly for newer up-and-coming writers and for writers of marginalized identities because we're, lower levels. I was a staff writer on both the shows, which is the lowest level you can be in the writer's room. And a lot of the time when they know we only have 2 weeks to write a whole season of television and we only have 3 slots, they go ahead and we kind of get left out in the cold. And writers of color are more likely to be lower-level writers. They frequently make us repeat levels. They deny us promotion. I got denied a promotion when I went to Queens after Woke because they said I didn't have enough episodes of television under my belt. They've shortened season orders, as I'm sure people have seen. They said, well, you need to have 20 episodes of television under your belt to get a promotion. Woke was only 8 episodes for that season. It's not my fault that you're giving us shorter season orders.
How can average people like me support writers like in your strike?
I think the best thing that you can do is amplify our voices and our stories on social media. Most of us are on Twitter. I don't know that a lot of us are on TikTok, but there's a few. I think getting our actual voices and our stories more in the forefront rather than relying on certain publications that might have a vested interest in the relationship with the studios and might be giving some misinformation purposely. I think it kind of depends on the journalist writing the article. So kind of have to cross-check with what actual writers are saying before you believe what's in those publications.
Any words of advice for other writers who also want to be in Hollywood and how to advocate for themselves?
Get a lawyer. With other reps, they have to ask to sign you. The lawyer, you can just hit them up and see if they are taking on new clients, and it's not as hard of a process. But, even if you have an agent, agents can negotiate contracts. But again, like I said, some of them have a vested interest with maintaining a certain type of relationship with the studios. The lawyer does not care. The lawyer is going to get you the best deal possible.
Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wanted to share?
If you are in Los Angeles and you want to support the writer's strike, you can join a picket line. If you go on the WGA website, it'll have the list of all the studios and what times we're going to be there.